Hi guys and welcome to my YouTube channel once again. So this particular video, Charlie Kirk is surrounded by 25 work students and he's going to be debating each of them. He's going to put out a prompt, or he put out a prompt rather, and they were expected to challenge him or debate him. Let's listen.
I am Charlie Kirk, founder of Turning Point USA, and I am surrounded by 20 woke college kids.
Let's get started. Now he's going to begin.
My first prompt is, abortion is murder and should be illegal.
So he gives a prompt and then they're expected to run to the center to debate him. Rush.
All right.
Can I maybe go?
Okay, hello, what's your name?
Juliana.
Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet
Can
you.
we get our terms right first?
Yeah.
Okay, abortion is the forcible ending of the viability of a being in utero, otherwise known as a fetus. Do we agree that's what abortion is?
Okay, yeah.
Okay, great. And then murder is the intentional taking of life, different than killing or sudden death. So murder would be the intent, with intent, taking another life. Do we agree with that?
Okay,
Okay, and then we agree that murder in general in society should be illegal.
yeah.
Okay, great.
So yeah, no, I do want to preface that I'm a Catholic.
Okay.
So I think one really important thing that the Bible says is to not judge. And just going back to the topic, I think there's a big difference between, cells in utero than a living, breathing, existing being. And while I do believe it's murder, and that's just my personal belief, right? I don't believe in telling people what to do with their bodies. That's not up to me, and it's not up to us as well as Christians
But-
to judge.
Should we prevent murder in society?
For sure, yeah.
Then it should be illegal.
But I think that it's really different, right? Because, these people aren't.
Sorry, nice to meet you.
Nice to meet
Okay, what's your name?
Naima.
Nice to meet you.
Okay, can I just ask, at how many weeks do you think that a fetus is viable?
Well, viability and moral worth are two different things.
No, but I'm asking you, at how many weeks do
Well,
you think
at
a
about
fetus
20
is viable?
weeks, a baby can survive outside of utero.
So it's actually 24 to 26
Well, it's
weeks?
20. The youngest ever in a NICU unit actually happened in San Diego, not far from here, and survived at 20 weeks.
Okay, so under Roe v. Wade, 93% of abortions happened in the first 13 weeks of pregnancy. That's 93% of the abortions happened well before a fetus is technically viable
For
as
sure.
a form
so
of life.
Let's go into viability. So what is it about, let's say, a 6-week baby that has a heartbeat, its own DNA, fingerprint, brain waves, that is less moral worth than an 88-year-old right now with dementia in a home down the street? That person requires assistance, requires help. Why is it that the 6-week baby is of less moral worth?
Well, first of all, it's not a baby, it's a fetus.
Well, what does fetus mean?
A fetus is in utero.
What does fetus mean in Latin?
What the f? I'm sorry, is this a
It means
language class?
little human being.
Ugh, this smile is very creepy. Okay,
Smiling is creepy.
no, your smile specifically.
Got it,
But
thank you.
let's go back to,
so-
we're losing track here.
No, but what species is the fetus?
The fetus is not a species yet. It's technically classified as a parasite
No.
until it is
wow.
viable.
So
now, I want to talk to you about something very quickly.
I can't let you get past that. Are you
I'm
saying
sorry.
saying a baby is a disease or a tumor?
A parasite is not a disease and a tumor. Those are not the same thing. A
parasite-
parasite is defined as something that cannot survive outside of its host. A baby, before it is viable, cannot survive outside of a woman's womb.
Got it. So let's
Therefore,
extrapolate that.
it is not a living organism.
Are old people with Alzheimer's and dementia that are being assisted every day, are they parasites?
No, they're not parasites. They're human beings who are on the brink of death.
Got it. So my
They're not going to be able to survive.
4-month-old that requires mom's breast milk and requires daily changes and feedings cannot survive without its own. Is my 4-month-old a parasite?
Your baby can breathe on its own. Your baby can drink water from its mouth to its stomach.
But it cannot.
Your baby can
Can
eat
it hunt?
food.
Can it gather? Can it reason?
But that's not what qualifies something as being
okay,
a
so
living organism.
then
Being
let's
a
get
living
back to
organism
terms.
simply means, can you survive outside of a womb, outside of your host?
Got it. So I just want to make sure I'm clear. Why does that then equate to moral viability?
It equates to scientific viability.
Why? Under what standard?
Because it is not alive, and you are
it's-
advocating for the rights of something that is not technically a life.
Got it. So what is something
While
that has
sacrificing the needs of the human woman who is alive.
Got it. So, but a mom can survive
Yes.
without the baby in her, right?
Yes.
The baby cannot survive without the mom.
Yes.
But a mom cannot survive without her lungs. So it's not her body, it's in her body. It's not her
I
DNA,
know.
so it's not her choice. So it's
It actually is directly her DNA.
It
is 100%. It's 50% of her DNA.
half her DNA.
Interesting. I find it
It's gonna
interesting.
win, I'm telling you. This could take a while.
Okay, first of all,
Do we have our terms correct? We agree?
Actually, no. So first
Okay,
of all,
got
I
it.
would like to refine our terms. I
Got
have
it.
2 points to bring up after that, though. So you define murder as like intentionally like killing a human being.
Mhm.
I think that's a very poor way to define murder, because if someone were to like break into my home and point a gun at the heads of me and everybody I love, and I intentionally kill them to prevent them from killing my family, I don't think I murdered them, right? So I would define murder as the unjustified termination of a human life.
You're making a good point. Let me further clarify that. So self-defense is
Right.
very warranted.
Exactly, right?
But I can see where you're going to go with how that has to go with abortion, but we can go down that journey in a second.
Yeah, so I mean, like, I kind of do want to give you my argument insofar as why I'm pro-choice, why I think it's justified. But first, I think that, your position is quite absurd, right? Because you're saying that it is murder to kill a human being, right, at any point in development, especially when it's in the mother's womb. My question to you would be, well, does this make women with IUDs murderers? Because it is the case that in some scenarios, an IUD will allow for conception to occur, meaning there's a unique human life there, but it will prevent its implantation, intentionally killing it.
Well, no, preventing implantation is not necessarily the same thing as terminating a fertilized egg. For example, if you take Plan B, again, it's not the same thing. Preventing the production of progesterone is not the same thing as terminating a being that has been fertilized.
Charlie's
You do not know for a fact that
intelligent,
the
man.
egg has been fertilized. You do not know that when you have an IUD.
Okay, yeah,
Do you?
so preventing a fertilization or implantation to the uterine lining is killing a conceived zygote. So what happens? A sperm goes into the egg, right? The egg becomes fertilized. It's a conceived zygote. In some cases, it will prevent the implantation of the conceived zygote, killing the conceived zygote.
In some cases, correct.
So what do you say in some cases, women
no,
with
not-
IUDs are murderers?
Of course not. They're not murderers. We do not know for a case. That's like saying that.
So
everyone
what's
that
the
takes-
difference between an IUD killing a conceived zygote
Because-
and like a mother going to Planned Parenthood and killing the fetus in her womb?
Well, so you're asking two separate things. If they knew for certain, to be more clear, that I have a fertilized egg and I'm going to take a drug to prevent that fertilized egg from attaching to their uterine wall, then yes, that is an act of killing or murder, of course.
Okay, so
But-
do you
but
think
you
all
do-
murderers should go to jail?
Do I think all murderers should go to jail? I mean, on third degree murder. However, no, I don't think women that got abortions or had IUDs should go to jail, because I think that they have been deceived by mass culture and mass propaganda. Secondly, the people who should go to jail are the abortionists, who are the ones that have been putting the abortion pill, the ones that have been doing procedures, the ones that have been going into the third trimester and breaking babies' backs and inserting them with syringes while the babies are crying and suffocating, being born alive, and then being dead on the operating table.
Okay.
That is who should go to jail.
Oh.
That was actually
Wow.
somebody made.
Is anybody going to win this argument? I doubt it. Who's going to go next? Let's see.
Okay, whenever I'm talking about this discussion, I always go to the question of what about in the case of the mother when her life is in danger? Because I'm a big believer. I don't know. I'm still iffy on if I think it's or if it's murder or not. But even so, I mean, I don't want to say murder is justified. Guys, wait. Let me just get this one point, and then you can vote me out. Give me 1 second. Say the mother gets pregnant, and she knows that if she gives birth, she's going to die. She has some kind of health complication. Then what do you do in that
Cesarean
case?
section.
I don't know what that means.
It's a C-section. They
Oh,
do an
cesarean
insert.
section. Guys, wait,
right-
hold on. Just give me one
right-
second.
They go right below the belly button, and they deliver the baby. And after she doesn't have to give birth, it's technically birth, but it's much safer. So that's actually safer than an abortion procedure. Sorry.
Wow.
Sorry, Lily.
I like her honesty. She didn't know certain things and she came forward to say, look, I don't know what that means.
Hello, how are you?
Hi,
What's your name?
Deedon.
Nice to meet
you. I would say with abortion, I think it's very complicated, but I think the issue that I have primarily with your stance of being pro-life, that there's no nuance. There's women who are being forced to travel hundreds of miles to access abortion care, even in cases of rape in certain states that they're not giving any sort of allowance for that. And I think, a lot of people who are pro-life, they say that they're pro-life, but I feel like they're really pro-birth, because with firearms, the United States has some of the highest firearm deaths out of OECD nations, right? And we can acknowledge that that's for children who are actually living and breathing. So I feel like abortion, well, yeah, it is. I can definitely see your point. I just think that it should be allowed in some circumstances.
Okay.
Yeah.
Great. I'm happy to get into the gun violence stuff later, but I want to really stay focused on abortion.
Right.
You can say you see my point. Can you see the world also where, since we know it's a human life, that it should be illegal since we don't allow murder in our society?
Well, that's where I have an issue, because abortion is not being done willy-nilly. It's like the life of the mother is always.
How many abortions do you think we have every day in America? Just guess.
I'm not sure.
Guess.
I'm honestly not sure. Maybe, I don't know, 1,000?
4,000 a day. So
4,000.
it is kind of willy-nilly. We have 1.6. Sorry.
Wow, everybody keep it to time. I like that. Ooh.
Hello.
I just want to clarify, the thing that you're aiming for is less abortion, right? That would be what you would want, or at least no abortion.
Eventually, it's also a protection of those that can't protect themselves. But yes, and that's why after the reversal of Roe versus Wade, we saw abortions go down dramatically in Texas, Alabama, Mississippi. We saw thousands of babies that are now alive and well that are able to have amazing lives thanks to the reversal of Roe versus Wade.
I don't think a lot of that is true.
Well, it is, but
it's not true, because when you make abortion illegal, it doesn't actually decrease the amount of abortions that happen.
That's a nice talking point. In Texas, the numbers show differently. The birth rate has gone up.
Yeah, legal goes down, but illegal abortions still happen. Abortions still happen outside of whatever data you're showing.
That's not true, but let's just say, well, if you
40?
if you want to, well, first of all, if you count the abortion pill, you're right, but that's a separate thing than a chemical abortion and surgical abortion are different things. And I'm not debating you, I'm debating her. So if you want to do the flags and come back in, try and be faster next time. So let me ask you this. So the question is, we should try to limit unjust suffering of human beings, right?
Sure.
Okay, that's my position, is that there's unjust suffering of anywhere between 1.4 to 1.6 million abortions a year of human beings that are being massacred in the womb. And so that's not a women's rights issue, that's not a men's rights issue, that's just a human rights issue.
Okay, the best way to decrease abortions happening is proper sex education. Limiting abortion and making abortion illegal does not actually decrease the amount of abortions that happen.
So what is your evidence of that?
What is my evidence of that?
Because we have increased sex education in the last 30 years.
Our sex education is so bad in America.
Well, by bad, what do you mean by that? We have more access to birth control for young kids. We have more kids that are learning to use birth control at a younger age. We have more of that in our public school system, and we've seen all the trends actually go in a negative direction. So, in fact, we see that the more sex education there is, the more disturbing those trends are. So you say that, let me ask just one more thing. You say that if we make abortion illegal, people will still do it. Should we then just make gang violence legal because
No, I'm
people
saying
still
if you
do it?
actually wanted to decrease the amount of abortions that happen, you wouldn't be advocating for to make abortion illegal. You'd be advocating for all of these
Does
other
that logic
things.
apply to stealing, looting, kidnapping, arson, and murder?
Well, actually it does, because those are results of different
Okay,
societal
so-
issues
so-
that you should be
Got it.
educating
So we
yourself
should
on,
make-
rather than making it
so we
illegal
should
on
make-
the front.
Should we make kidnapping, arson, burglary, murder legal because they're symptoms of something else?
We should be helping society heal from
No,
those
you got to
things.
answer the question.
Should we answer
We
the
want less of
question?
those things. Should we just make them legal and we'll get less looting?
You know,
Yes, good.
actually, I'm gonna let someone else.
Thank you.
It's got no answer.
Hi, Parker. Nice to meet you. Yes.
Nice to meet you, Charlie.
Big TikTok guy here.
So, pedophiles, people who were married to children in the past and normalized in that society, should they go to prison?
Should pedophiles
Like,
go
if
to
you could go
prison?
back in time, would you put those pedophiles in prison that married those children because it was normalized? They were deceived into thinking it's okay. Would you put them in prison?
You got to slow down.
Sorry.
Pedophiles should get the death penalty.
No. So you'd go back in the past, you'd give them the death penalty, even though they were deceived into thinking it was okay. But you said people who get abortions who are women shouldn't
Hold
go to
on a
prison.
second, but it's not currently illegal.
Okay. Regardless,
pedophilia
at that
is
time,
current-
at that time, it wasn't.
No, I would not go back and retroactively enforce laws where things were currently not illegal.
You wouldn't put pedophiles in prison in the
Well,
past.
Hold on a second. When was it illegal? When was it legal in America?
Well, child marriage was legal in America throughout the early 1900s and especially throughout most of society for thousands of years, especially in the Old Testament and in the Bible.
Hold
right?
On. Well, hold on a second. So where is the Levitical law that allows you to marry a child?
Oh, yeah.
Can you name the verse?
Well, I can't name the verse, but the particular conditions that are enlisted in the Bible are that you have to be physical maturity and emotional maturity, which is extremely vague and throughout society has been seen to be met at puberty.
There is not a verse, but let's kind of go
Okay,
back.
so when is the age of consent under your view?
Let's go back to, generally agreed upon it's 18 years old. But let me ask you
Because you don't go based upon what's generally agreed, you go based on the Bible.
I say 18 years old, but let me ask you a question.
Where's that in the Bible?
When does life begin?
Conception.
Like conception, great. So good. So should we protect all life at conception?
I care about sentient life, not
Sentient.
cellular
So
life.
when do brainwaves start?
Do you think brain dead people should be able to pull the plug on, like a family should be able to pull the plug on an individual in the family that's brain dead?
You got to answer the question. When do brainwaves start?
You can see brainwaves around 6 to 8 weeks, which in
I
brain
agree,
dead individual there are brainwaves as well. So the brainwaves necessary to produce a subjective experience are met until around 18 through 26 weeks in the womb.
Can you see it from my perspective? That at 6 to 8 weeks, those brain waves will actually increase, not decrease, if allowed the process of development to continue.
Did you know those same EEG scans exist in brain dead people that you don't think are sentient?
No, but the difference with the brain dead people is that the likelihood of those brain waves actually increasing is very low at 6 to 8 weeks, when by 15 weeks they can hear the mom's
impossible.
voice.
It's irreversible sensation. That's what brain death is. I
Hold on,
didn't know that.
But no,
it's not coma.
But you're doing a red herring. Go back to
No, it's not. What's a red herring?
A red herring is where you avoid the topic and you say something that is adjacent or symmetrical to what I'm saying, but not actually I'm saying.
You mean a reductio ad absurdum? That's not a red herring.
A 6 to 8 week baby, if they're allowed to continue to develop, what ends up happening?
At a certain point, it will become a sentient being in the future. The same way that if I keep engaging in sex with my girlfriend, there'll be a baby in the future. Yet I don't care about the
unless
sperm.
you're infertile, which we don't know. But let's see the process of development, right? Why
do you want to answer my question yet?
Why do you have the ability or the right?
Should those child P3os go to prison?
The process of
should the pedophiles go to prison?
From 1904. How many pedophiles are alive from 1904?
They're not alive, right? I meant like if you can go back in the past, hypothetically speaking, and you could put them in prison, would you put them in prison?
I would have killed them myself if I was alive.
Okay, so then you don't apply it based upon what people are deceived to believe. You apply it based upon what you consider to be moral. So the women who had abortions, you think they should go to prison. So why should women who get abortions go to prison, but someone like my mom who told me that Santa Claus exists shouldn't go to prison because they're both sense?
This is not going to be a constructive debate if you keep on talking over me.
Well, I was finishing my statement. You were talking over me. Go for it.
Let me ask you a very simple question. Do you think it would be a good thing if we had less abortions in America?
It depends on the context. Like, are the abortions prior to sentience?
Yes.
Because I think
all abortions.
No, it would not be necessarily better unless it is the case that the people didn't want the abortions, and it would be negatively impactful to their health, medically speaking.
Are you against late-term abortion?
After sentience, yes.
Okay, so you believe in an 8-week abortion ban?
Yeah. No, I don't. Sorry, I believe in an abortion ban after 18 through 26 weeks.
Okay, that's a more reasonable position. I have to give you credit for that.
It's similar to Trump's. 15 weeks?
Yeah, so why do you think that most people don't share your view on that?
Well, people just don't really know what sentience is. There's not a lot of conversation about abortion, and these conversations are very difficult. Like they're conceptually hard to go through, and I understand why a lot of people don't understand their positions on it.
So
but I think people
are where most
you're cutting
Americans
me off. I thought we weren't cutting people off.
I was actually complimenting you.
That was a good one.
How are you? Nice to see you.
So I just have one question. There's in any case, you don't think there's any case where abortion should be legal?
There's a very, very rare couple cases.
Okay, so you do think that a couple cases it is legal?
If cesarean section is not going to save the mother's life, and the mother's life is actually at risk, which is debated amongst growing numbers of OBGYNs, that is the only case where abortion should be allowed. But people say it is a growing consensus in the pro-life world that abortion is never medically necessary.
Okay, so if you had a daughter and she was 10 and she got raped, and she was going to give birth and she would and she was going to give birth and she was going to live, would you want her to go through that and carry her baby?
That's awfully graphic.
But it's a real life scenario that happens to many people.
The answer is yes, the baby would be delivered.
Oh, okay, great. So that's insane.
But let me tell you why. No, hold on. Let me ask you a question. There's 2 ultrasounds I have. One is a baby conceived in rape. One is a baby conceived by a loving couple. Which one is which?
Your daughter was probably hopefully conceived by a somewhat loving couple.
Which person here was conceived by rape? Tell me which one was conceived by rape.
You don't know.
Exactly, because it's all human rights and it's all human beings.
But that doesn't matter. It's about your daughter who has to give birth to it and is going to be tortured by that for the rest of her life. That's going to take away every freedom she's ever going to have. That's going to ruin her life. She's going to grow up and she's going to be attached to another thing.
The point is how you were conceived is irrelevant what human rights you get. Hold on one second. If a person conceived in walks down the side of the street, it's not like they don't get First Amendment rights or Second Amendment rights.
It's not about that person.
The worst thing to do to the daughter is to then say, hey, we're going to go murder the being inside of you.
They wouldn't even know. Listen.
They wouldn't know?
Listen.
But wouldn't it be a better story to say something evil happened and we do something good in the face of evil instead of saying we're going to do evil and then murder the being because we're going to pander to the evil? No. What makes the West great is that we do good after evil, not evil after evil.
It's not about the being and the cells.
No,
It's not about. No. I'm speaking.
No,
I'm speaking.
we're both-
No, I'm
we're both
speaking.
clumps
No,
of cells.
I'm speaking. No,
We're
I'm
both
speaking. No,
clumps of
I'm
cells,
speaking. No,
okay?
I'm speaking. No, I'm speaking.
Wanna say it one more time?
No, I'm speaking.
Got it.
Thank you. So it's not. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about
I
the
know you don't
person.
care about them.
No. I'm talking about the person who is dealing with the pregnancy. I am not talking about the cells. I don't
the
care. No,
cells.
listen. The fetus, the whatever. I don't care about that right now until
Whatever.
it is
Wow.
formed.
When does it become formed?
If there is a 5-year-old child who is pregnant and the baby is 2 weeks in
5-year-olds
utero,
can't get pregnant,
actually
okay?
they have given birth. There is
5-year-olds have given pregnant.
There
I
is
stand
one.
corrected.
There is
I-
one recorded case of a
Okay, I
5-year-old
stand
girl who
corrected.
gave birth.
Is that common?
Yes, it's common. 5-year-olds get sometimes, and
Okay,
if they get
if
pregnant,
5-year-olds
I
get
think they should be
pregnant,
able to have medical access to something that could save not only just their life, but like their livelihood.
How many, I'm curious. How
I
many,
hope your daughter lives a very happy life and gets away from you.
Okay, so that is really nasty. And so her belief system, just so we're clear, is that.
The time's up.
Yeah, no, I got it. It's fine. I mean, it's insanely nasty, and we'll talk again. My next claim is that college is a scam.
Okay, that was some feisty one. I mean, that last lady was such a tough one. Come on.
Hello.
Hello,
I'm Charlie.
hello.
What's your name?
I'm Maddox. How are you
Nice to
doing?
meet you. Good.
So, college is a scam.
Well, let's define our terms. College being traditional four-year college.
Of course.
University, not community college or technical college.
Of course.
A scam, if we can agree on a definition, is where a majority of people who will go through the institution or business, they're not getting their money's worth, their time's worth, and they're being deceived when they sign up. So do we agree on those terms?
Yeah, perfect.
Okay.
Well, what would further definitions, what do you think is the purpose of
So
going to college?
the purpose of college should be a traditional liberal arts education, the pursuit of what is good, true, and beautiful.
Okay.
That's not what it is. It should be the betterment of yourself and your soul, nurturing your character and becoming a better citizen, understanding the deeper things in life. At the very least, though, it should be preparing one for the job market. Do you think college does those things?
I think it does, but I would add on to your point that I think not only is it for the betterment of yourself, but it's for the betterment of society. We need historians. We need certain majors that may not make as much money. I think those are for the betterment of society. Would you agree that there's some majors that may not make money, but are still essential to society?
It depends. Do you think that getting a degree in gender studies is good for society?
I would agree, yeah. Why would studying gender not be good for society?
Well, learning that men can give birth is not exactly a good use of time, is it?
Is that what they're teaching in college right
A lot
now?
of colleges, yeah. According to the Center for Disease Control, they no longer say women can give birth, they say birthing persons.
Okay.
Do you think men can give birth?
Do I think men can give birth? I think that...
Yes or no question?
I think that a person who is assigned male at birth, I don't think they can give
Assigned
birth.
male at birth, so people are not male at birth?
I think that a
See,
person...
your evidence that college is a scam, my friend.
College is a scam?
You're lacking in a lot
Well,
of wisdom.
here, we can continue right now. So, gender studies, do you think that studying gender is not essential? Should we not deepen our understanding
well, first of all, I
of
don't think
I'm
gender,
confused.
we're going to get there later. I don't think gender exists. I
Okay.
think that there are two sexes, infinite personalities, and no genders. However, let's get back to the core contention.
Well, here, can I ask my question
Scam.
again real quick?
Well,
Why do you think...
I'm going to get back to my core contention. A scam. So the majority of kids that go to college, if they end up getting a job at all, they end up getting a job that does not require a college degree.
Do you think that certain jobs that may not associate with a direct major can incorporate skills that you learn from a major? I think I'm an econ major, and depending on what job I do in the future, I can still use the skills learned from that.
So tell me about Milton Friedman.
Tell me about Milton Friedman. He is an economist from...
How about Thomas Sowell?
Thomas Sowell.
Ludwig von Mises.
Ludwig... Well, I will say that I'm a first year.
How about
I'd love to see you answer the gender studies question.
We will get there later. That's what psychedelics are for. Who's next?
How are these guys able to sit this long to debate these topics?
Well, I think it's difficult to think about just one major, thinking about just gender studies. Like, sure, like not everyone should be a gender studies major. We need doctors, we need lawyers, we need everything. However, why does it matter if 10 people want to be a gender studies major and it matters to them? Like, not everyone can be a lawyer, not everyone can be a doctor. There needs to be some people, and you know what? Yeah, it sucks that some people do go to college and get a degree and then they end up not in a workforce for that. But I don't think that has to do with like college was a scam. It's more like maybe that just wasn't the path for them, or that life choice was just too hard to get for them. But some people are able to go to college and get a degree and use it, and that is super important, because imagine if no doctors went to college, they're just like, I think I can do it.
Well, of course, doctors and lawyers need credentialing, right? But
college.
Well, less than 5% of all people that go to college end up studying medicine or in legal. The vast majority go into soft social sciences, communications, or the humanities. So you're in college, or have been, is that correct?
Yeah.
Are you forced to take classes that you think are a waste of time?
Yeah, I'm forced.
Okay,
You know what?
Hold on. So they're taking your money and they're forcing you that they're a waste of time. That's kind of scammy, right?
Oh, I think that some classes.
Ooh, some. So you have to probably go in debt, right?
Depends.
Okay.
Are you going
into debt?
No.
Okay, well, that's good.
I picked a school that actually offered me a scholarship.
Oh, so someone else is paying for your college.
Oh, I don't know. Depends on me. I mean, that's
No, I'm
a
sorry,
school
that's
that wanted
fine.
to give me an opportunity. But that's not what we're talking about.
Well,
We're
it is.
talking
No, we're
about
talking about the scam element, right? So you said that there are some classes that if students had to go into debt or had to pay for, would not be a good use of their time. So it's not representing students well.
Well, do you think like high school is a scam then? Because I had to pay for high school, but I'm not going to use AP US history in my psychology degree ever.
Well, I think AP US history is actually a really good use of time, knowing about your country and your history. And
well, but I'm not going to use that
Madison.
in my career. That's what we're talking about in the career path for college.
Well, let's go back to what I said, right? We said traditional college, right? Four-year college. And what a scam is, we're a majority of the people that will go through the enterprise, the business, or the institution are not getting their time worth or their money worth. So therefore, I go back to my core contention, which is a majority of kids that exit college will not use their degree at all when they go to find a job.
But if you ask them, do you think college was a scam? I don't think majority of them are going to say yes. Some of them will. Some of them are going to
not everyone who's being scammed actively knows they're being scammed.
But
people still buy erectile dysfunction drugs off the internet. And they get scammed.
Okay, that's their own personal choice, though.
Of course, people have choices to be scammed. I'm not saying they don't have a choice. I'm making an observation analysis of the institution. For example, flying Spirit Airlines, kind of a scam.
Okay.
Should be shut down. There is some, kind of agree. There are some things in life we have to take a step back and the consumer is not being well served.
You want to shut down a bunch of majors in colleges that you think are scams?
No, I never said that.
So what would your proposal be to fix the scam of college?
There is no proposal. The contention is college is a scam.
So then what's the point of that statement?
To get you to agree.
But what would that do? What do you want to fix in college that's going to help it not be a scam?
We can get to step interval 2 as long as you can agree that college is a scam.
No, because not for everyone. For me, I'm using a degree that's going to help people make better.
What are you studying?
Psychology and criminal justice.
Okay. So, and it's being paid for by somebody else, which is fine. That's good. So psychology and criminal justice, do you absolutely need to get a degree to be able to get into this? You do?
Yeah, I could, I guess, study it all on my own, but it's just makes more sense to go and have all these experiences. I'm getting wonderful experiences, internships all through my college.
So
that's helping me go through it. No, it's
college?
just that this is a pathway that's really helping me.
So there's 11 million jobs open in the country right now that don't require a college degree.
Okay, then the people who want those jobs can go get those jobs. I am not one of those people.
Do you think we push too many kids into college?
No.
Okay, so the national graduation rate is 59%. If I asked the room, everyone would agree that they know some people that went to college that did not graduate.
Yeah.
Right? So we're probably sending too many kids into this institution.
But if they might have been able to do it, then why is it not worth it to try and to push yourself to get a better education and go further in your life?
Leaving with debt's a bad thing, right?
But some people are able to work through that, and it's an opportunity thing.
But when an institution is multi-trillion dollars in scale, involves 23 million of our citizens every 4 years, and is not actually bettering the country. For example, if college was so great, we would see incomes going up for Gen Z and millennials. We'd see more people able to own homes.
Okay.
Kids wouldn't. I'm telling you, this is so ableist what you're doing, by the way. I'm telling you, right? Hello, what's your name?
Alize.
Nice to meet you.
Okay, so let me start by saying, well, first of all, you said we're sending too many kids to college. Who's sending them? Who's forcing them?
Guidance counselors, parents, community.
Are they forcing them? Are they signing them up themselves?
Hold on. Forcing, I never said forcing, but you can have nudging and forcing are two different things. We also subsidize college through the federal government. So you guys get subsidized interest rates, scholarships, and loans. So the taxpayer is nudging students and gently and sometimes forcefully pushing them into college. And you would agree it is an expectation if you grow up in a upper middle class home to go to college. You would agree with that. So there's a societal cultural push.
I didn't grow up in an upper middle class. So.
Okay, well, but would you see it from there? Would you see how that argument is correct?
I guess there might be a pressure, but no one's sending them. You're sending yourself.
Well, of course.
Well, we're all over the age of 18, right?
Right.
When you're in college, so you're
let's-
sending yourself.
Right.
But that's besides the
But
point.
let's
That's
be
a different
honest.
point.
I mean, that's a silly argument. Yes, they're technically sending themselves. I was just at Arizona State University move-in. Everyone had their parents there. They were co-signing on loans. They were there helping pay for stuff. Parents, the ones that are still checking in. They're the ones that largely subsidize their lifestyle. Hey, mom, can you Venmo me $3,000 that I can go out on an extra night? Yes, of course, when you're 18 years old, you're the one signing on the dotted line. But there's enormous pressure and nudging and cultural expectation that students go to college.
Right. Okay. I think the problem here is that it's up to the person. You can't just go to college and expect to come out with a degree. You have to put the work in. You have to put the work in. You have to make connections. And some people might think college is just 4 years of partying and drinking and making friends, whatever. But you have to actually put the work in. And if you put the work in, you make connections, and you can find a job right outside of college.
Well, no, not doubting that you can't find a job. It's just that 52% of them get a job that doesn't require them to get the degree.
But most jobs offer incentive pay if you have a degree. And 86% of people with a degree get paid more than people with just a high school diploma.
That's only if you count the ones at the top 10% of income earners. So not if you count humanities, not if you count people that study in the social sciences. If you count medicine or you count law, that's absolutely correct. However, the vast majority of kids that go to college are not studying medicine, law, engineering, business, finance. They're studying communications, social sciences, or humanities, which are on the lower income ladder. So as I mentioned, we have 11 million job openings in this country right now that do not require a college degree. I'm guessing in this room that within 4 to 5 years, you guys would kill to be able to earn $80 to $100,000 a year, yes? Do you know that in states across the country and in cities, they're offering apprenticeships to become plumbers and welders, electricians? That doesn't require for your college degree. Entrance salary, $80,000 a year.
But again, 86% of people with a bachelor's degree earn more than people with a high school diploma. No, 86% of all people with a bachelor's degree.
But if you take out the top 10%, it's actually lower than those that don't go to college. So the reason that number, that average goes up, is because the doctors and the engineers and the lawyers are the ones that bring that average so significantly up. But let me ask you a question. Do you think that there's any waste at all in the current college model?
Do I think there's any waste? I don't think we need all of it.
Okay, good. What part?
Well, you have to start with your core classes, and it's like high school. You're taking the same classes in high school.
So do you think, like, for example, do you think that... It's okay. Nice to meet you. Thank you.
Oh. I'm Emily. Nice to meet you.
Emily. Thank you.
Earlier said that about 5% of college students are going into fields of like medicine, law, and engineering,
Let me clarify.
Okay,
yes,
yeah.
As far as they are going to be able to get postgraduate degrees. So they will go all the way up and get their Juris Master, or they will end up passing the bar or becoming a doctor, right?
Okay.
So it's easy to say doctors, lawyers,
Yeah.
but healthcare professionals, if you count nurses or people that work in healthcare, that number is closer to 20-25%.
Okay, so 5%. Who here has a doctor? Can you like raise your hand if you have a doctor?
Like a medical
A doctor, yeah. Like a medical doctor. Yeah, you do. Okay. 5% is still a lot of people, right?
Of course, but
Yeah.
that means 95% might not need to exist at the institution.
I don't think that's the takeaway. Just because 5%, which is still millions of Americans
Wait,
all
hold on a
across the
second.
board.
But if you were to say, hey, we only have medical schools, only have legal, we can get rid of gender studies, get rid of... So what's the contention?
Well, gender studies is actually, if you look on like the pre-law track, gender studies is a pre-law track. If you're going to be a lawyer, you have to study gender studies and other social cultural
That proves my point that college is a scam. Why would a lawyer need to study gender studies? Shouldn't a lawyer know the law?
It's a social science. The law, you think the law isn't inadvertently affected by social, cultural, and gender norms?
Of course it is, but shouldn't they first know the Bill of Rights, the Constitution, the Federalist Papers?
We learned that in high school.
Okay, so what is Marbury versus Madison?
I haven't been in high school for a really long time. I'm not trying to be a lawyer.
You learned it.
Yeah.
So
I mean, high schools are like, it's public high school.
What was Brown versus the Board of Education?
That's for desegregating schools.
Okay, good.
Yeah,
Yeah.
which Project 2025 wants to like defund the
Right.
Department of
So
Education.
who wrote the Constitution?
Founding Fathers, 1778. I don't know.
It wasn't 1778.
I don't know.
Close, yeah.
Yeah.
You don't know?
No.
Okay. Well, this is the point: is that you don't learn it in high school. You don't even learn it in undergraduate, and our law school's not learning it. So maybe.
Well, I'm not in law school.
No, the point is that you were saying they already learned it, and they don't. I don't want this to be a pop quiz or trivia. I didn't go to college, and I'm asking you very basic civic questions, and you're paying to go to college, and you can't answer them.
That's so fair, but I think.
Thank you. Sorry.
Yeah, I have a question. Is church a scam?
No, because church is honoring the divine and the eternal and the good and the true and the beautiful. Is college?
But it deceives people because you give a promise of everlasting life, which you don't actually get because Christianity is contradictory logically speaking.
Do you want to get into a theological debate, or are we going to talk about college? Because I completely disagree. Jesus Christ is my Lord and Savior, and we will have eternal life.
Okay, so how, if there is a perfect being that created the world, how could we exist in an imperfect world?
I'm happy to have this discussion. Can we go back to college, though? Because do you think, because that's a little bit of a red herring and a little bit of a rabbit hole. Tell me what that has to do with college being a scam.
Well, I do think college can be a scam for certain people. I don't think it's a scam for everyone. So for people like me, college was very beneficial for me.
For sure.
Who is it a scam, I'm asking you, based upon your definition of a scam, do you consider the Christian church a scam?
Of course not. It's giving people eternal life and teaches them goodness.
But if Christianity is false, then that's a deception.
Okay, but you think it's false. I don't. We can agree to disagree. Also,
I'm not agreeing to disagree on that.
But we're not talking about the church. We're talking about college, right? So again, also people are not paying to go to church, are they?
But it's a reductio ad absurdum. You know what that is?
Ask the question.
What's a reductio ad absurdum?
That's a Latin term that means reducing down to the lowest common belief, correct?
Yeah, so I'm taking
Am I right? I didn't go to college. I knew that.
I'm taking your particular position.
Let me ask you a question without you interrupting me. Do you pay to go to church?
No, I don't. Some people do. They're forced to pay based upon their particular denomination.
And today, do you pay to go to church?
Depending on the church.
No, you don't. Do you have to go to debt to go to church?
In some circumstances, people do because they have to give up 10% of their income to be able to do that, which people can't afford.
Circumstance?
Well, they're LDS. You understand that a lot of LDS churches specifically require 10%.
Yeah, they don't require it. And what you're
talking about in plenty of places.
Well, you're asking mainline Christian.
Isn't there stigmatization if you don't do that?
Okay, you're good at interrupting, not good at answering.
Well, you haven't answered any of my questions yet.
I did say no. Church is not a scam. Church is the bride of Christ. College is a scam, and college is people are going into debt. They're paying a lot of money. But I want to ask you a question. You said it's a scam for some people. Who's it a scam for?
Yeah, for people who specifically aren't ever going to use it, never use any of the knowledge that they retain from it. Well, you say 52%. I don't think you can grant a qualify 52% of people don't do that.
What number would you say?
For example, my job, that's not going to be recommended as an economics degree. Most economics majors aren't going to go into TikTok debating online. But I use the information that I learned in college in my job on a daily basis. I still use relevant qualities that are then used in my job later on. I don't think anyone knows that. Because it's dependent upon an individual.
Shouldn't we try to find out?
Well, if you'd like to find some empirics on that, I'd love to see it.
I just did. So 41%.
Wait, that's not a source.
Well, the Department of Education is a source.
No, the Department of Education doesn't say 41% of people it was a scam for, or that they didn't use any of the information they learned in college.
You are using.
So are you saying none of them used any of the information?
Can I say 3 words without you interrupting me?
Do any of them use the information later on?
Can I say 5 words without interrupting me?
Well, you've interrupted me multiple times.
So since you say college is a scam for some people, it's a ballpark. For the kids that do not graduate, 41% that ended up going and not graduating, were they scammed?
No, just because you go and pay for a particular thing, but then you don't follow through with it, doesn't mean you were scammed.
Maybe they were
You
misled.
decided to pay for it. Oh, you could say some people are misled. Some people are stigmatized into these things.
Do you think that
some people are misled in the church? And you never answered my question on that because you're trying to take that time down so that you don't have to answer the question about Christianity because you know your worldview looks terrible.
Well, what about Christianity do you want me to answer? We're talking
I think
about
it's false. Or because I was saying, is church a scam? If church is a scam, that'd be predicated off of the idea that you're deceived into believing that there's everlasting life specifically from Christianity. So Christianity has to be true. So can you grant that? What's the argument?
Christianity is true. Did the
What's the argument?
You're going to let me finish 3 words in a row?
Appreciate it.
Okay. Did the resurrection happen?
I don't think the resurrection occurred.
Okay, I disagree.
Okay, so let me ask you a question. A perfect creator, is it possible for them to not desire something imperfect?
Is a perfect creator, I'm sorry, what?
There's a perfect creator that desires everything that's just perfect. How can they desire something imperfect, flawed?
Well, because maybe they want to get to know themselves. Maybe they want to see their own creation. Maybe they love their
creation. They want to get to know them? He's all-knowing.
Can I finish talking here? Okay, maybe because God loved the world so much that his creation, which rebelled against him, given agency and free will, rebelled against them, then got eternal life, what we actually deserve, and then sent his son on a rescue mission to save us from that. The church is the bride of Christ, will save us from damnation that we deserve. College is far from the bride of America. It's currently scamming the youth of this country and sending them into oblivion.
Didn't answer the question.
I did.
No, you didn't say how they could desire something imperfect.
Well, God can do anything.
We'll talk about that later.
God can do anything, so.
Even something logically contradictory?
No, it's not logically contradictory.
To desire something imperfect.
Charlie took on 25 work students, like they were all surrounding him, and he was answering those questions. It was more or less like debating how he did it. I don't know, but That was some big one. And I see now why there is so much about him. He is a genius, trust me. He is a genius. I hope you enjoyed watching this as much as I did. I'll be back sometime soon. Please don't forget to subscribe, share, and click the bell. I'll see you some other time.